Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a tutorial on this eye look right here. I use the new, well, it's not new, but I've been kind of playing in it for a while on Instagram, so finally getting around to doing a tutorial with it. The Sailor Moon Colourpop palette here, I really wanted this purpley shade to kind of be the star of the show, so I didn't really kind of use these kind of neon shades. I did a few looks like that earlier in the week on my Instagram, so this time I just kind of did a soft socket crease, kind of a peachy one. I used the Baby Got Peach palette. So that's it. I'm going to keep the intro short. I was supposed to do a collaboration with a lady who's my age. I met her through Instagram and we were going to do a collaboration with these palettes, and somehow I dropped the ball. I didn't think we were doing it, so mine is late. So my apologies to Ruby Musings. I'm going to link her information here below. Go check her channel out. She's got a fun channel. She just did a tutorial. Actually, she's done two, I think, tutorials with this where she did swatches and then she did a live eye look. She had her husband do her makeup. Yeah, so you guys got to check that out. So, all right, I'm sorry about that, Ruby. Hopefully we'll do another collaboration soon. Okay, that's it, you guys. I'm going to keep this intro short. If you guys are new here, I'll take a second just to welcome you guys to this video on my channel. I'm Lauren Jade. I'm 57. I deal with mature, crepey, wrinkly skin with hooded eyes that are slightly downturned, so I'm always looking for ways to kind of pass my tips and tricks on to you guys, even though I know we all have different eye shapes and different levels of hoodedness. Hopefully you guys can pick up a few things and tweak if you have to, so that you guys can rock your hooded eye situation as well. And that is it. And with all of that said, if you guys are new, I'd love to have you join me. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it, so YouTube will notify you each and every time I upload. And without further ado, let's just get right into this tutorial. Today's video should go by pretty quick because I'm only using a couple of colors today. I am priming with my P. Louise base in the shade 02, Rumor 2, using a P. Louise brush. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set the base. I think I'm going to use this Twilight Flash shade right over here. I like setting my base with a nice skin tone friendly shade. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know I've said bye-bye to the one-size-fits-all cookie cutter YouTube tutorial. If you on a JH31, I'm just going to grab a little bit more of that shade and just kind of dust this in this upper crease area, this upper socket bone area. My Hoola bronzer as always, and just kind of sweep a little bit of that on this little upper corner. I usually try to hit the area like right where the nose bridge kind of connects into like the brow bone, so kind of like right in through here, and just kind of that upper socket area. I always kind of push a little bit up towards like the brow, looking down into the mirror, trying to get that product in the hollow of the eye, because that's where I really want to contour, right? And I'm just kind of following my own eye shape, just kind of what like my crease, you know, does naturally, which is usually like I like to go up because that's what mine does. You know how some people will go in and they'll put something into their crease and they just kind of go straight across? That's probably the way their bone structure is. For me, mine is kind of, it's like down here and then it kind of gets higher as it goes up and then it kind of comes over. So I just pretty much follow my own bone structure. And I'm going to dip into my Tarte Aspen Overd collab palette, and I'm going to take the shade Married Life, and I'm just going to pop that underneath like the brow bone right here, right underneath the arch of the brow. Get that upper brow bone. All right, I'm going to stick with this palette here again, the Aspen Overd. I'm going to grab that same shade on a Sigma E37, and I'm just going to dust this on this inner corner here, right on this inner socket right here. I am going to take that purple in, but I'm still going to have a light and bright kind of inner corner. But I think today I really want this purpley shade to be the star of the show. I want that to be like the main shade. I don't want anything to really kind of compete with it. So I'm going to kind of just do a soft socket crease up in here. I just kind of want to do like some peachy browns. I love over to the Baby Got Peach palette. And I think I'm going to work in these two shades right here into the crease. I'm going to grab I need a JH32. I'm going to use my Jaclyn Hill brush set today. So let me find my 32. Here we go. So I'm going to start with this shade right here, and then I'm going to go into this one. And I'm going to start with into like right in the center. I like to kind of pinpoint, I guess, or just kind of like tap, like kind of like right where I want the high point, and that's kind of like right here. So for me, because my eyes are slightly downturned, I take my little end point and my little crease up a little bit higher than like say someone would if they had, you know, if their eyes was just regular, then they would just do like a regular V, right? And it would be more, but mine is up a little bit higher. My V is up a little bit higher because my eyes are slightly downturned. So I always like to kind of create that lift. Just getting right underneath that bone. I want to make sure I get this up as high as I can. So I'm really looking down into that mirror and really trying to catfish this. Same thing over here. I'm just going to kind of tap where I want the highest point up in here. Just kind of tap. And then I'm just going to work this in. And I usually like to kind of go up and over a little bit just because my eyes are slightly downturned. I'm just going to blend with the Sigma E40. It's just a nice, big, fluffy blending brush. I'm just going to kind of blend the edges. All right, you know, sometimes I will use like my P. Louise base, like on this little inner corner, just to get it nice and bright. I'm just going to use my MAC paint pot here. This one is in the shade Bare Study, and I'm going to stick with that P. Louise brush. This kind of has a little bit of a sheen to it, but I want the shade, that purpley shade, to really kind of stick to this because I want it to be really bright. So I'm just going to use this. This is a great shade like underneath like a shimmer, or you know, anything that you want to pop, because you can see it's got some shine into it. So I'm just going to take this and just kind of get that up nice and high. I'm going to kind of almost kind of like I'm doing like my normal little like cut crease situation here. All right, now I'm going to go into the purple, and again, I want this shade here to really be the star of the show. So I'm going to keep, like I said, I'm going to do a soft socket crease, which is kind of like a peachy, orangey, kind of brownish crease, so that this one can really shine. So I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to place this on top of that Bare Study. All right, sorry, I had to stop for just a second. I didn't have any fallout, but I was like, I really don't want any, so I just wanted to pop on a little bit of powder here just to do a tiny bit of baking. So I'm going to continue on with just kind of packing on this shade. I'm going to take this up into the socket crease up here. And then I'm just going to kind of blend out the edges. I'm just going to use circular motions just to kind of drive that shade up a little bit, just so it kind of diffuses into this other shade. Into this orangey shade, I'm switching to an M433, and I'm just going to pack this into this outer part of the crease, and I'm just going to pick up kind of like the edges of that shade and just kind of use it to kind of blend out the edges, so that that purple just kind of diffuses right on in to this shade right here. Same thing right over here. I'm just going to pack that color into that socket, just hitting the edges of that purpley shade, and then just kind of blending out the edges. Clean blending brush, and I'm just going to go over the edges of that orangey shade and just kind of soften the edges a little bit. When you kind of tap out the edges, sometimes I will kind of tap going inward just because I don't want to like blow the color out any wider, right? Like if you did, you could just kind of tap out like out that way. But I'm just kind of tapping them out kind of like inward. And when you do that, like I said, it just kind of helps so that the color doesn't like diffuse out even farther. But it also just helps with the blending process, like, you know, like the overall result, right? Because then when you go in and you blend another shade right on top of these edges are already softened, and you're not like blending, you know, too much color on top of like another color. If that makes any sense. It's just like the best way I can describe it. It just really kind of helps with the overall blending process. I'm going to go back into this shade, that JH32 brush, and now I'm just going to go over the edges of that peachy shade with that yellow shade, and that was a shade that I used to set my base with. Really light, feather light little strokes. I like for everything just like out in this area here, just to be nice and seamless. I like that gradient fade of color. I grabbed a little bit more of that purpley shade, and I'm just kind of deepening it up right in this area, and I'm also kind of pushing it up. And now that I have pretty much did a lot of blending up in here, now what I do, kind of take up a little higher, that's just going to kind of blend right into the other shades. When you spend time blending your crease shades and then you do something like this, like on the lid, you can see that when I'm just kind of blending this up, you can see it's just kind of meshing right on in. And that's kind of what I want. Just taking that color and just slowly buffing it upwards into the crease shades. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that P. Louise brush and go back to my MAC Paint Pot in Bear Study, and I'm just going to kind of carve out the inner lid area because I'm going to do a light lid. I like to keep like the area in the inner corner really light and bright because that just really opens up the eye. For me, I really hate the halo spotlight on me. I'm sure there's people with hooded eyes that really like that, but for me, I find that it just kind of closes my eyes in and just makes them look small and beady. So if there is one eyeshadow style on me that I absolutely hate, it would be the halo spotlight. So I'm just letting you guys know, just like most of you guys that have watched me already know that because I've talked about it forever, but that's why I rarely ever do that eyeshadow style, because it's just not flattering for me on my eye shape. It might be flattering on somebody else with hooded eyes, but not on mine. Okay, now for the fun parts. So I think what I'm going to do, I love how, you know, I love those oranges and cranberries and the peaches and the plums and like these oranges and peaches and, you know, mixed in with the purple. So I think I'm going to go into these shades right over here, these kind of like peachy, sparkly shades, and just kind of mix and just kind of do like a little peachy inner corner because I think that will mesh really nicely with the soft socket crease that I've got going on. I'm going to take the lighter shade and do the inner corner. And I'm just kind of dusting over like the border, like where the shimmers meet the matte shades right there. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that purpley shade and just kind of put that on this little outer section right here. And just kind of fade that into the other shades, into the shimmer over here. All right, I'm going to switch to this palette. This is just a Colourpop palette that I put together myself of some of my favorite single shadows of theirs. And I'm going to take this shade right over here. I'm going to kind of start with this one. This one is called Facet. I think it's kind of like a maroon, reddish kind of a brown. I want to say chocolate brown, but it's not. It looks like it's got a little bit of like a reddish in it. And I'm just going to start out here and just kind of smoke up a little shadow wing. And then you just want to connect it back. Sometimes if I want like a really, really sharp, precise wing, I'll use a very thin angled liner brush, right? And then you can just go like this. And you just kind of create this little really sharp, precise little. And then since you've kind of smoked it up earlier, you kind of have that little gradient of smoke on top of that little precise wing. And it just gives such a nice little whoosh. I'm going to take a little bit of this shade right here, which is Now and Zen. And I'm going to pop that on this inner corner right here. And because I really want this purple to be the star of the show, I'm going to go back and take a tiny bit more and just kind of freshen it up out here. And just kind of deepen that up a little bit. It's like right in there. Sure would look good if I went ahead and added falsies, but you know me. I'm not going to mess with that. I got too much stuff to do today. Sorry, guys. All right, so I'm wiping away the powder. Oh, I love this. This looks so, so good. Touch up with like a little bit of the Hoola bronzer just because I have already kind of done my face already. I just wiped away the powder, so I just kind of want to touch up a little. I just love that feeling of this spray. All right, guys, that's it. That completes the look. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, if you guys liked what you've seen and you picked up a few tips and tricks, I hope you guys will join me. Please hit the subscribe button on your way out. And that's it. I love you all. Mwah. I will see you guys in my next one.